This looks like urine. Not like you are in, but you're in. Urine. In Swedish we say urin. Urin. Hey, Swedish word was back. Anyway, having my second energy drink because it's been a long day. So today we are doing a eyeshadow palette collection and declutter. I do want to say that I have decluttered my entire collection. So I have decluttered foundations, highlights, bronzers, pigments, liquid eyeshadows, and today is the last part. I don't think we'll do lipsticks. Let me know if you are interested in it. But I did a pretty long video not too long ago, I think, with all of my lip products. I finished them up and I have purchased some new. Anyway, today I'm going to show you guys all of my eyeshadows. I do know that I have one that's on its way to me, which is the NATASHA DENONA Star palette, but other than that I think is pretty much it. And I think I'm gonna cool it a little bit with new makeup for a while because I just got a new job. Yay, like the video for that, whoop whoop. But I am having way earlier hours than I've had before, which means that I don't want to get up super early just to do my makeup, you know, so I might skip eyeshadow for a while. Anyway, long intro, let's keep it short. This casing I always get questions about. This casing is from Coco Panda, which is a Swedish store. If I can find it, I'll link it down below. I do also know that Norway has Bli Vacker and they might have this. But other than that, let's just hop into the eyeshadow palettes. Here I know I store a lot of my favorite palettes. I usually did that in a way. That's not the case anymore. Oh, by the way, I have one on the side. I'm so sorry. I used this today, which is why it's not in my collection, so I just thought that I would show it to you guys. This is the Patrick Ta Major Dimension palette, and this is what she looks like. I mean, to me, this is a perfect everyday dream. I could not be happier with this palette, to be honest. Today I just did a super easy look. I did use these two and then this on the lid, and I was super happy. Absolutely adore this one, and this is staying for show. Here we also have some minis from NATASHA DENONA. This is the mini nude. The reason why mine looks a little bit beat up to the sides over here is because I tried to depot it. Maybe not depot it, but I tried to see, like all of our other eyeshadows are magnetized, so I thought that this one would be as well, but it wasn't, and shame on me. But this is a keep. This is the NATASHA DENONA Mini Glam palette, and unfortunately I have never used her. I do like the tones in this one, however I especially like this shade, and then also the two browns, and then also this one I think is really cool. So this one is a keep as well because I do want to get to know her. Then we have the NATASHA DENONA Mini Love, and this is a stunner. It's a really nice little palette that I think that a lot of you guys could get use out of if you liked, or if you like this kind of color story. This shade is beautiful. It's like a duochrome, super sparkly shade. It kind of reminds me of a shade that Kaleidos has in one of their palettes. I can't remember which one it is though. Here we have the Mini Star palette, which is the mini out of the Big Star palette that I recently purchased, and a lot of people were confused. They were like, but a lot of the shades that's in this one is in the Big Star palette, and yeah, that's the same when it comes to all of her minis. Like, yes, I love NATASHA's formula. I think it's amazing, so this is going to be a keep as well. And the same thing goes for the NATASHA DENONA Retro palette, the mini one. This is a stunner. This shade I heard is in the Star palette, and this is a favorite of mine. I just want to pull this one out and smear my eyes in it every single day. Then down here I have this little quad from Charlotte Tilbury, Sigge. Don't be mad at Charlotte, she did nothing wrong. This is the fuck, I can't say it, Exagurize Sorry, but this is a beautiful little quad and I actually really enjoy it. I do tend to pull in another palette as well when I use her, but I do enjoy her a lot. And the same goes for this palette. This is a face and eyeshadow palette from Natasha Denona. It is her Instant Look of Love in a palette. I just hate that name. I think it's so cheesy. I bought this one because I wanted to test out a lot of products from her, but without having to spend like too much money. Yes, this was a lot of money, but at least I got to try her bronzer, powder, blush, highlight, and then eyeshadow. I love the eyeshadows. The bronzer I enjoy. The powder is nice, but I expected, I don't know, like, I don't think I love it as much as everyone else does. And the highlight was a little bit thick on the skin, so I need to test it out with another brush, but I'll do that with time. Then we have the Nabla Side by Side palette. This is, oops, fairly new to my collection. As you can see, I haven't used it a whole lot. As I was saying, I haven't used it a whole lot, but I'm really liking this color story. I think it's absolutely beautiful and can't wait to use her more. Back here we have the Juvia's Place Tribe palette. I just find this palette to be absolutely stunning. I adore this palette. I really do. It's so nice, and of course I'm gonna keep her. Then I have this palette that I absolutely hate. This is the Natasha Denona Cranberry palette. I do actually want to test it out again. So my cranberry palette doesn't look like a lot of other people's cranberry palette does. It has these cream to powder shades, and I kind of need to, like, that actually swatched pretty good. Maybe I just didn't know how to use her shadows before, but now maybe I do. So I think I'm gonna go back to this and see if I can use it. These two are from another palette, and this is also from the Cranberry palette, but I am going to keep this one. So let's hop into some Kaleidos. This is the Kaleidos Futurism VR Neon palette. And mine has the sleeves of a lot of other palettes. I mean, these aren't shades I tend to use that much anymore, but I do love the two shimmers in this one. I think that they are magical, and I get it. I could depot these because the shades are magnetic, and then just put in some other shades and get rid of this palette, or just get rid of the palette as is. But I don't want to. So I'm gonna keep it. I, by the way, don't know how much I actually will declutter, because I don't know, makeup has just been so much fun for me lately, so I've always said that I don't want to declutter just to declutter. Here we have a beautiful palette from Kaleidos. This is the Futurism Astro Pink, and here's what she looks like. I have put the shades on the back right here, and that's what I intended to do with this one. I just haven't really gotten to it, but eventually I will. So this is what mine looks like. This is probably my most used from Kaleidos, because I just love the combinations that I do with this one. I love the fact that this is like a blurple, as Amy Loves Makeup usually calls it. I mean, it's not perfect because the black matte has shimmer in it, which just tends to give you so much fallout, but it is a beautiful one nonetheless. Then we have the Menagerie Cosmetics Feral palette. Mine doesn't look like yours does perhaps, but almost the same anyway. I gotta be honest and say that I don't love Menagerie Cosmetics formula. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it is as good as a lot of people says. The mattes contain so much kick up, it's insane. So I mean, you'll hit pan in these in no time. If ABH Subculture was a lot of kick up for you, then this is exactly the same. But having said that, the color story is impeccable, so I do want to keep it. We have this one over here. This is the Oden's Eye Urd palette. I don't love all of Oden's Eye's palettes, but this one is actually a really good one. It's absolutely beautiful, and I do have a video where I used it, and I just fell in love with the look I created, so I never want to get rid of this ever. I love it. Here is the What's Up Beauty Desert Monsoon palette, and here's what she looks like. Here is definitely the star of the show, the shimmers. They are absolutely beautiful and they come in a variety of different formulas. It's very, very beautiful, and I do want to keep that as well. This is the NATASHA DENONA eyeshadow palette number 5, which it doesn't contain, I think, a single shade from the 5 palette. Here you have a lot of the shades from the gold palette that I have popped out and just switched out, and you'll see that once we get to the gold palette. Here we have the Kaleidos Sashimi City palette, and this is probably my current favorite from them. I do not love that the shimmers are so naturally harshly pressed. It's a little bit tricky to use actually, and it gives you a lot of fallout. I mean, it's okay, but it's not the best. But I do enjoy it, so I'm gonna keep it. Same thing with this one. This is the Kaleidos Futurism Sci-Fi Green. Here you have that one, and this is beautiful. I will say that I have started to fall out in love with green, which is a shame, but I still have a soft space or place for it in my heart, so I do want to keep it. Here we have the Sigma Code Rosa palette, and I freaking adore this palette. Some shades are a little bit off and a little bit tricky, but most of them work beautifully. Absolutely gorgeous palette. Definitely a great palette, and no, I'm not getting rid of it. Here is actually a palette that I could get rid of, and before you even gasp, it's just not my color story. I never wear these kinds of colors right here. The pinkier shades is actually what's like, yeah, what I like, and then also like this shade right over here is so cool, but I don't think I can get rid of it right now, which is, I mean, it's a shame. But I mean, if I want to keep it, I will, so let me just live a little. Here we have the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded palette, and here's what she looks like. I enjoyed this palette, but I don't love it. I also feel like there is a problem with the mattes. I don't know how well you can see, but they kind of pick up pretty chunky and they go on not so smooth on the eyes. So for that reason, I will actually declutter this one. Here I have my Sample Beauty Equalizer palette volume 2. Had to zoom you guys out. This is what she looks like, and she is a absolute stunner. I mean, the shimmers in this palette is very creamy. They are sort of like a ColourPop Super Shock Shadow, in which where they are super bouncy, but then the mattes are super blendable, and you have everything you ever could want in when you want to do like a super bronzy look, or a super neutral look, or a super orange look, pinky purple look. You have so many different options, and I think that this palette is really underrated. So I'm not sure that I'm gonna keep all of my Norvina palettes, but let me just show them to you guys before we even start to consider giving one away. So here you have the Norvina volume 3. No, it's not really my color story anymore. No, it's not. However, having said that, you do have some beautiful pops. I love the tones of the browns in this one, and I also really enjoyed this one. This one is stunning. The purples in here mixed with the greens. I just enjoy the color story so much. So this one is just not going to be decluttered, and the volume 4 palette is my favorite out of all of them. I love this palette so much. It's not perfect because it has pressed glitter in it, but the shimmers when it comes to this palette is amazing. In the other palettes, they aren't as good, but in this one, they are really nice. So obviously, I'm gonna keep that. But having said that, let's talk about this one, which was the first palette from them. So here you have the Norvina palette volume 1. Yes, there are some beautiful purple tones in this one, but they are very screamish and they have blue shades in it. I don't know what to do with this yellow. I don't know what to do with the last shades in here. I think I would actually, before I declutter this, take this black shade, put it into the volume 4 and swatch that out with a glitter, I think. So let me just do that. Okay, I'm not getting it up. Someone told me, no, someone told me that these were magnetic, but were they lying? Yeah, they're not popping up. I just thought that they would be like normal shades that you could just pop out. No, I'm just gonna crack the black. I'm not even gonna bother. This one is going. Here we have the Melt Gemini palette, and this one I really want to use now when we're moving into fall. I love these two browns. I love this green and the black, and these tones are just perfection. And the 27 palette, I think, is a fun little neutral palette because it has pops of shades that I don't feel like I have in other shades. Like I really love Nip Slip and Thick. Thick is probably my favorite out of this one. Now, this is not a standalone palette for me because I feel like I don't like the shimmers that's in this palette when it comes to the tones. Nothing wrong with the formula. But I do really want to keep this one, and I want to continue to use it this fall and winter and whenever. Now here we have the NYX Utopia palette. I think I'm actually gonna declutter this, and I know a lot of you guys will be upset, a lot of you guys will be confused. It is a gorgeous palette, so don't get me wrong. It's just that all of these shades, I have better quality when it comes to the shades. I feel like I have better quality shadows. I like NYX, and I think that this is a good palette, and I stand by that. But I've always said in my reviews of this palette that the formula isn't the best. The mattes aren't the best, and the shimmers aren't the most vibrant, which is why I'm letting this one go. So that is all of the palettes that I had in this little one. Let me put them back, and then we will move into my drawer. We have 2 drawers to go through. This is the first one. This is not filled with palettes, but I do have like my lip products underneath and then some of my eyeshadow palettes snuck up here. So we do have 2 drawers, maybe more. I need to check. Wait a minute. No, that's all. So let's just hop into this one. This is the Beauty Bay Fiery 2.0 eyeshadow palette. I am unsure about this one just because of the fact that it is so large. But I love some of the shades in here. Like I really do. But I have so many palettes. I think this is going to be a maybe palette actually. I love this shade right up here. I love the browns in here. I think the quality is great. I love this shade. So this is gonna be a maybe palette because it is so stinking big. Then we have this one. This is from Colored Rain, and this is the Vivid Pigments palette. This is what it looks like. This is the only rainbow palette that I have left. And I am going to declutter this one. I know so many people get upset when I declutter Colored Rain products, but the thing is I have had this for at least a year and a half and I haven't used it. So I feel like there's no point in keeping it since I don't use it. So this one is going. This one is also going. This is the Magic from Juvia's Place. I have decluttered this one once before, and then I brought it back to my collection. I was like, no, I can't declutter it, but I haven't used it since. It's just something about this one is just not really exciting to me, but at the same time it is really exciting to me. I think that this shade is gorgeous. I think that this shade is gorgeous. I think that this shade is gorgeous. But do I use them? No, I don't use them enough to keep this one. So that one is going as well. Then I have these ones. These are from Berry M, and you can kind of build them, as you can see. So you're supposed to like build your own little palette. Well, you can at least, but maybe that's hard for you. I have never used these, and I don't think I ever will. Did I destroy this one now? No, like that. So I'm just not gonna keep this one either. I'm counting it as a palette. Here I have the Glitz Wiz palette, and this is from SheGlam. This is their dupe of the Metropolis palette. I don't know if any of the gals that I tend to talk to all the time on Instagram that lives in Sweden that I have sent products to before, if any of you want this, feel free to give me a DM. And if I have sent you products before, then you can DM me. If I haven't, please don't ask for any of it. As you can see, it's used and abused. You don't have to cover the shipping. I will cover the shipping. The mattes aren't the best. The shimmers are incredible though. Just send me a DM. This is decluttering now. Here I have my NATASHA DENONA gold palette, which doesn't even look like the gold palette anymore. But I just adore this one. Will not let that one go. Here we have the big Metropolis one, the big one. Here we have the Metropolis one. I just gotta swatch this one. Just looked beautiful. Yeah, stunning, stunning. Beautiful, beautiful palette. Will not get rid of this one at all. So that's a keep for show. Oh, there's so many maybe palettes in this one. Here we have the Anastasia Sultry palette. I have decluttered this one once in the past and then brought it back. So usually when I bring products back, it is me bringing it back from my decluttering pile. This time around I actually repurchased it. It's the only palette I have repurchased. I'm not okay with like repurchasing products you have decluttered, but I couldn't help myself. I don't use this enough, but hopefully now with my new job, I will reach for this one a little bit more because I feel like I could get pretty soft and beautiful, pretty easy, quick looks. So that's a keep. This is also a keep. I did not plan to include my singles. I haven't. I have left them out and just removed them. But these are my Glam Shop shadows, and then here is some of the shades in my Anastasia Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette that I have just depotted, and then here I have some singles from Makeup Geek. This one I finished. Like, do you see that? It's empty. It's the second eyeshadow palette I have, or eyeshadow, I mean, that I've ever finished up. I'm so sorry, I'm just fixing the way I'm sitting. But this is a keep, a faux show. Let's bring some palettes out from here. Here we have the NATASHA DENONA Bronze palette, and this is also such a stunner. I haven't used this one too much, so I'm just really looking forward to do so. I really need to swatch Palladium, Bliss, and Silk. I know I have used Silk before, but I just needed to swatch it out. Ooh, Bliss was pretty, and Palladium as well. Super pretty palette, and I need to use her a little bit more. Here I have two dupe palettes that my beautiful and wonderful friend Crystal sent me. She has a YouTube channel. She reviews a lot of new makeup, and she's such a sweetheart. She has this beautiful laugh where she's like doing like this and then laughs. I'm sorry, I did not mean that in a condescending way as it might have sounded like, but when she does that, my heart just fills with joy and I'm just so happy. So definitely go ahead and check her out. I will have her linked down below. But she sent me these two eyeshadow palettes from Glam Shop, no, Alter Ego, which does dupe palettes. So this is the Shadow Kiss. They're both dupes of NATASHA DENONA, and here is a dupe of the Glam palette from NATASHA DENONA. I think that this looks stunning, absolutely gorgeous. I cannot wait to use this one so much. So I'm really looking forward to that. And thank you so much, Crystal. You're such a sweetie. When you see this, I have probably used them already. But I just want to give you a little thank you and let everyone know that you can go ahead and subscribe to her. To you, I mean. This is the Canyon palette, and this is a dupe of the palette that I just showed you from NATASHA DENONA, the bronze palette. So do you want me to do like a comparison between the two? Because I definitely could, and maybe that would be fun. I have compared some high-end palettes before to some dupe palettes. Just let me know if that's something that you are or would like to see, or is the internet filled with them and I just shouldn't do it. Let me know. Here you can see that I have two Amrezy palettes. Damn it, one is more beat up than the other. This is the first OG one that I purchased. Wasn't planning on picking this one up, and then I went to store, swatched it, and I was amazed, super amazed. So I bought it. Now it is one of my favorite palettes in my entire collection. I loved it so much that I was planning to purchase a dupe one, but one of my sweet gals here on YouTube, no, that's a follower, a subscriber, she had this one and didn't really like it. I know, she didn't like this one. I'm feeling a bit attacked by that, but okay. Anyway, this is what her palette looks like. That's now my palette. This is the only palette that I've ever gotten a dupe of, or another one of, I mean. And it's especially because of the shade Barb, because Barb is undupable. Yes, the shade might be similar in other palettes, but the formula is just not. So I'm keeping both of them, but I'm counting it as one palette. We have two other palettes right here. These are from Beauty Bay. This is the new Romantic palette, which is such a beautiful and romantic palette that I don't want to get rid of because I think the quality is incredible. And then this one Beauty Bay sent over to me in PR, and this is their Wilderness palette, and this is such a fall palette, such a fun palette. When I'm filming it, or when I'm filming this, it's actually sold out. But I know a lot of you guys went bananas over this one. A lot of you guys fell in love. I just gotta show you this one, Ray, because Beauty Bay does these shades stunningly. It has this green shift to it, but it's not too much. And then also I need to show you this one because this is like too much. This is like a green lover's dream, and then you can kind of mix them, like put them next to each other, and it's just the most beautiful look ever. So that one isn't going anywhere. Here we have the Mama Mitchell palette, and this is what she looks like. I will say that I haven't used this one more than once, and I don't know about this one anymore because of the fact that it is so colorful, and I'm just not really into it right now. But I'm also scared to declutter all of my colorful palettes. I think I want to keep this because look at this corner, like these 6 shades right over here. Angelina looks stunning. Grass, Mama's Garden, Fool's Gold, like this one, of course, this one. So I am going to keep this one. I definitely want to play around with it a whole lot more. I feel like I just need to declutter more because that's what people are expecting from me, but I'm not gonna declutter just to declutter. I just need to tell myself that. Here's another one from Beauty Bay. This is the 20 colored palette. No, this is the Book of Magic palette, which is one of my favorites from Beauty Bay. You can kind of see how much I've used this shade Crystal. This is one of my favorite shadows in my entire collection. It's just stunning. It has this beautiful shift that doesn't even do its justice on camera. Now, if that shade wasn't in this palette, I think I would have thought differently about it. But since that shadow is in there, I just cannot bring myself to get rid of it. It's like one of my favorite palettes just because of it. Here I have the Stone Cold Fox palette from ColourPop. I think I'm just gonna put this to the side because I do have a, I'm gonna show you later on, but I might just take some shadows out and put some shadows in and just rearrange the palette a little bit so it becomes my perfect palette, because some of these, or all of these ColourPop palettes are magnetic. So I'm just gonna put this to the side and put it as a maybe, but it's not a maybe, it is a keep, but you know the drill. We have the Soft Clam palette, and this one I'm just really unsure about. Same thing here, like I don't love this entire palette. I love the mattes, but the shimmers aren't really my style. But I do have beautiful pigments that I could use with this one, so I think I'm gonna put this in a maybe pile and just think about it for a little bit. The same thing goes for my Jackie Aina palette. I had planned on actually decluttering this one, but then I did my video that was like the top 10 favorite palettes according to you, like the palettes that you think is the best of the best. And this one was in there, so that really got me thinking, and I started to look at this palette once again and realized how beautiful it actually is. I don't love each and every tone in this one. I feel like some of them are way off, not really my kind of colors. So I'm gonna put that in a maybe as well. Never thought I would seize the day because that one used to be one of my favorites. And here we have the Whale Song palette from Menagerie Cosmetics. This one is just absolutely stunning. It has one of the some of the most amazing and unique greens in my collection. Just gonna swatch Plankton and Kelp. As you can see, this is what I mean with her mattes. Do you see that? Just me tapping it off. So that's Kelp and that's Plankton. Plankton might not look as much for the world, but it is stunning on the eyes. And as you can see right up here, this is all of the fallout that I got. So I got like more fallout than I have ever done before with any other shades or palettes that I have. But not me just only complaining, because the color story is beautiful and I do love this palette, so I will keep it. One of my favorite palettes in my entire collection is this one. This is the Beauty Bay and Nikki Tutorials palette, and here is what she looks like. She is beautiful, and I have hit pan in 2 shades. This is just a dream come true. Love this one, will keep faux show. And the last palette in here is just some singles, some more from my Modern Renaissance palette, some from M Cosmetics, Coastal Scents, Makeup Geek, Give Me Glow, Nabla, Menagerie. So just a fun palette. I will obviously keep this one. But now we're gonna go down to the next drawer. My tripod just broke. I had to take out the big guns. Yeah, handy gal. I fixed the fucking problem, so let's continue. I feel powerful. Okay, this is the last drawer, I promise. Bear with me. Hopefully you're enjoying this. You are. Come on, you love it. No! 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 Please don't be broken. No, we survived. This is, let me zoom you guys in, NARS, or as my mother says, Nash. This is the NATASHA Afterglow palette. She's a stunner, absolute stunner. Adore this palette, would never get rid of her. Love, 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 love. Palette that I am getting rid of though is this one. Can you even call this a palette? This is a little quad. This is from e.l.f. and I know a lot of people loved this one. I just need to swatch it again. Oops. I don't know. There's something about the metallics in this one which I don't understand why everyone is like hyping them up, because maybe there's something wrong with my palette, I don't know. But this is just not that great. Sorry, it's not. So it's going. Here is a fun palette. This is the Nudes of New York from Maybelline.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
I have not used her ever, but I really want to swatch that shade. That shade. Ooh, that shade felt beautiful. Let me just swatch. Ooh, I am impressed. This one though, let me see. Ooh, wow. Okay, stunning, 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 stunning. Absolutely gorgeous. Will keep. We have the NATASHA DENONA Retro palette, and this is not going anywhere. It's a beautiful, beautiful palette. I adore this to absolute pieces. Will not get rid of her. I will not get rid of my beat up Norvina palette. I used this the other day and can't remember what I did. But I used her, and I've been using this base shade kind of a lot lately. So I'm just trying to go through some of my eyeshadows and just reach for them a little bit more, and this was so much fun, so I am going to keep her. Here is one I can get rid of. This is the Mauves from Juvia's. I hate the mattes in this one. They are dry, they are crusty, they are not pigmented, they don't blend. Maybe they swatch well because my skin was a little bit sticky after I cleaned it off, but it is not a good palette, so I just don't feel like keeping this one, so I'm getting rid of it. Here we have MILANI Unglided Most Loved Mattes from MILANI. This one was sent to me and I haven't really used it. It looks like it has been swatched right there, but it hasn't. And I tend to film with this one. Don't know if I'm gonna keep it after that, just because of the fact that the mattes are really not sticking out. But if I love the quality of it, I will keep it just as a matte quick palette. This is the NATASHA DENONA Sunrise palette. Now I will say, and this is the Love palette. These don't look like they used to because I have swatched out some shadows, or swapped out some shadows. So here you can see that this is the Love palette. I took out all of the shades that was right here, and I swapped them out with some of the shades in the Sunrise palette because I felt like I really needed this. This is like one of my favorites from NATASHA. This is the Awake or something. I'll show you later on. And then I think I swapped out that one, but I'm not too sure. And now I really like this palette a lot, and I feel like I will reach for it way more than I have wanted to in the past. Now here's the Sunrise palette. This is not really looking that great. Like, yes, the pops of purple, they fit in here, but this one is throwing me off. Awakening, that was the shade that I put in here that I absolutely adore, but I do want to keep it. Like, I like this palette. I just need to swap out some shadows and just kind of play around with the color story, because right now I don't like the color story. Like, I love this corner, I like this one, and then these two. But some of the other ones are just not really my cup of tea. But I will keep both. That's something that we have learned. I keep everything. Here I have a little Bobbi Brown quad. This is impeccable. This is stunning. Let me swatch out all of these 4 shades. Here they are all swatched out for you. As you can see, this is a super intense shimmer, and the other ones, like these two, are not, but they are beautiful shimmers, but they are a little bit more like grown-up shimmers, and I love to compare or combine these two. They are absolutely phenomenal, and then this shade is also really fun. I guess you could see that I am keeping this one. Here is a palette from Technic. I asked you guys if you wanted to see me do a video on it, and no one answered, so I guess not. So I'll declutter this one. It's unused. Here's something that I never declutter, but then every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, I want to use it, but then I never do. They are stunning. I cannot bring myself to get rid of it because it is too beautiful. I just love these tones, so I am actually gonna keep it. That was, by the way, the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill Bling Boss palette. It's getting tricky. Here is the Viseart, what are you called? Cool Mattes 2 palette. This is very, very pretty, and some of the shades are actually unused. I've used this one that had a lot of kick up, and then some other ones, but it's just not really my color story, so I am going to let this one go. I have one in the back right here. This is one of my favorites. This is the Huda Naughty palette. I did not purchase this when it launched. I actually just kind of recently picked it up, which is why it doesn't look all beat up, but I have used this multiple times. I love the formula of this. I absolutely adore it. I know a lot of people hated this one. I don't. I really think that it was a fun move. It was something different, and I like to test out different eyeshadows, and I just thought that it was really genius of her. Now, I don't tend to use it every single day, and it doesn't give me a lot of pigment. However, you could use it as some form of glitter glue, because on me anyway, and I have hooded eyes, it doesn't crease throughout the day, so maybe it would work for you as well. Here is the Too Faced Gingerbread palette. I mean, I should declutter this because I never use it. I have used this so few times. Oh, that's actually stunning. I'm gonna put this in the maybe pile because I really don't want to declutter it, but I feel like I should. I really want to get the new Too Faced palette. I know I'm such a boring person, but it just seems like my colors. But at the same time, I have way too many eyeshadow palettes, as you can probably tell. I'm trying to just work my way through here. This one, I'm going to declutter. It's unused, and it's not my colors. Here is the NATASHA DENONA Zendo palette. What a fun palette. This shade is giving me trouble, but these two combined, I saw Natasha do like a look. I love the fact that Natasha does looks so often on her Instagram, and she features her makeup, and she shows how you can use different colors, and like she just gives so much inspiration with her makeup, and I absolutely adore that. So I actually combined some of these and just recreated the look that she had done, and I loved it. So, and I love this palette. I think that it is a lot of, like, it's very grown up, but I haven't really used the blues too much because it's not really my colors, but I love it, so I'm gonna keep it. This is the BH Cosmetics Summer in Saint-Tropez palette. I haven't used this one, so I think I'm going to get rid of it just because I feel, I don't know. I just don't see myself creating a look with it. Yeah, so that one is going. Here's a palette that I haven't used either. This is the Norns from Oden's Eye. Oh my god, I didn't even see that. Look at that. Now you can see it, and then bam! Cool. Again, this hasn't been used, and now that I look at the shades, why did I keep it? I mean, yes, the shades are beautiful, but am I going to use this? Like, oof. Self looks stunning. Oh my god, you can't even see it. I'm so sorry. Self looks stunning and unique. Charming looks stunning and unique. Pink Chameleon looks stunning. That one, that one. I think I will keep it. I think I could do something fun for my IG or YouTube. God, how many palettes am I keeping here? Here we have the Strobe Cosmetics that are now called Shroud Cosmetics Creepy Cute palette. I don't think you can get this anymore. It was a lot of fun and I did really enjoy it, but I am going to let this one go now. It's just stunning, but I don't use it. The only shade I could see myself use today is Strawberry Milk. And I'm not gonna keep it just for that shade. I'm sorry. Oh my god, here we have an iconic London palette that I have not used. This is a pigment palette. I have swatched this out several times and as you can see, it is a total mess. It's beautiful. I'm not gonna open each and every shadow up, but this one I can open and show you. So you kind of have to open that one and then that one. And they are so stinking messy that I don't even want to use them. And it's kind of bulky. So I'm going to let that one go as well. Here we have the Tiny Marvels palette that Sydney Grace did in collaboration with Mel Thompson. Now, I wasn't aware about the fact that she was in some form of controversy. And honestly, I don't really know how much it is. I saw someone declutter this one or talked about it and was thinking about decluttering it because of that fact. Now, I don't know the ins and out of it, but I am just gonna let that pass because, yeah, I don't even want to dive into that. I don't know what Mel has done. I don't know anything, so I can't say anything about it. What I do know is that this palette is wonderful. The quality is incredible. And from what I have seen, Mel seems to be a beautiful and fun person. So I'm gonna keep this. Here is my beloved Paulina palette, which I don't really use that much. I did this in collaboration with Blush Tribe that is no longer available. This is obviously a keep for me. However, I don't use it a whole lot anymore because it's not really my colors anymore. And I don't have that kind of hair anymore either, which is interesting. Here you have the Saharan 2 palette from Juvia's Place, which is my favorite Juvia's Place palette ever. Really want to whip this one out and use it a little bit more. This shade, I was like before, I would never use that. That is so boring. Now I'm like, oh, do you see that? It's stunning. I've become a nightmare. Like if I knew 5 years ago that I would be this kind of person, I would probably kill myself. But oops, I'm so sorry. I will keep it. Here I have the Bare Minerals. What is this called? Bounce and Blur in the shade Dusk. Some of you people wanted me to keep this because you said that the formula is incredible. However, I hate the colors in this one. You don't see me use reds that often. You never see me use grays. I know this might look like a brownish gray, but it is gray. This golden one is not my color. This is the only one I could see myself use, but I'm not gonna keep this palette just because of it. It's unused, so it's just going. I am also going to let the Cyber Bronze palette from Kaleidos go. I know I have raved about this and I do love the fact that they have a shimmering red in this one, but I don't see myself keeping it just because of that. It is gorgeous, but I never reach for it, so I just don't really see the point. Here we have the Club Nebula palette from Kaleidos, and this one is absolutely stunning. Granted, it may not be like my everyday shades, but the palette is stunning and I do see myself using it and creating beautiful looks to work and outside of work. I mean, I could just take this one, add a little blue liner, and then that one, and just pop out the door, you know? So I do see myself using this a whole lot more. Here is the Flutterby palette from ColourPop, and here is where I kind of want to swap out some shadows with the Stone Cold Fox palette. This one I really want to take and then just put in another shade. Maybe I want to take something else from this one, but it's going to be decluttered. The same thing goes for the Dream Street one. Oops, what happened? I think I want to take some shadows from here that I really love, like some of these shades, and just put into my Stone Cold Fox palette and just let this die. Here we have the Sweet Talk palette that I didn't use too long ago. It's also lots and lots of fun. Adore this one. Maybe I should just take advantage of the fact that I'm switching out some shadows and just take all of the glitters that I have and just put it into one palette and just like throw it out the door. So I think I'm actually gonna take some, but that's a keep, by the way. The Sweet Talk palette is a keep. But maybe I should just take the shadows I love from this palette and pop in. I'll see what I'll do with this one. I might declutter this one and just take out the shades I love and put it into the Scones palette, the Stone Cold Fox palette. Here you have the Limoncello palette. This is also from ColourPop. I really want to use this one way more. It's so beautiful and so much fun, and I just love the brown tones in this one. I really wish I could take out the blue. I might even like take out the blue because it's such a distraction. I hate the blue. I don't feel like it fits in the palette. The only time I like look at videos or when I search the hashtag for this palette, I see people do looks with the blue and I'm like, ugh, awful. I want to see people do looks with this. This is fun, not this. Anyway, just personal opinion, but I'm gonna keep it. Two other ones I'm gonna... That was weird. Two other ones I'm gonna keep is the Good Sport palette, also from ColourPop. Such a fun one. Maybe I should take out these two that I don't like and put in something else. I'm gonna take the opportunity. Here is the Whatever palette, also from ColourPop. Adore this one. This one is so stinking pretty. It's so stinking good. Ooh, the mattes in this one, beautiful quality, absolute perfection, will keep. One of my favorite palettes in my collection and from ColourPop is the Going Coconuts palette. I switched out two shades, these two. So these two are from the Dream Street palette, and then I kept the other one is like Going Coconuts. This is one of my favorite palettes in my entire collection and so affordable. Definitely recommend. Here we have the Smoke Session palette from Melt. This is what mine looks like. I am going to declutter this one now. I had it as a maybe in my last declutter and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna keep it. Never used it, so time to go. Here is another controversy, the Colored Rain Safari Rain palette. These are too warm for my liking. I never reach for this palette. Like Lioness, stunning. But that's like the one shade I would keep, so I'm gonna declutter it. Don't hate me. Here we have the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. I think it's hard. Some days I love it and some days I think it's a little bit too golden for me. But okay, I need to keep it. We have the Moon Dust from Urban Decay. This is such a lovely palette. I used Lithium the other month. And she's gorgeous. I don't tend to reach for this as much as I did, but I do want to keep it. We have the She Glam Bubblegum palette, which is a stunner. I mainly focused on this shade. This is the most beautiful shade in the entire world. I love to take these two in my crease and then this on my lid. beautiful, absolute beautiful look. It's a lot of fun actually to pair like pinky purpley shades with a green like this. It doesn't have a whole lot of base to it, so it's just like a green sparkle on your eyes. Absolutely perfect. So I'm gonna keep it. Here we have the Kaleidos Futurism Electro Turquoise. I think I'm gonna get rid of this one. It's beautiful, but I think I'm gonna get rid of it. Here we have the Beauty Bay and Mama Mitchell. So here you have a warmer side, warm pinky side, and then here you have a cool toned, also a lot of warm tones, but this is a keep. And then you have a mirror in the middle. I am going to keep it. Enchanted Secrets from Linda Hallberg. I just can't bring myself to declutter this one. Then the Man-Child palette, or the Star Wars, Mandalorian, whatever you want to call it. Harsh. It is pretty, but it's not really my typical greens. But for now, I'm gonna keep it anyway. It might grow on me. Here we have the Wild Child palette. I bought this because of Stephanie, or Steph Lyons. I think I don't know how to pronounce it. She talks so highly of this. I think it is the packaging that is throwing me off a little bit. So I do want to play around and just remove some shadows from this palette as well, and just put in some shades that I like. So I'm gonna rearrange that one as well. I'm gonna rearrange all of them. I'm not gonna do it on camera though, because it's gonna be way too long of a video for me to do, but I will do it. Here we have the Subculture palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. As you can see, a very loved palette. Just love Anastasia. And I love this one. Electric is... Oh, I just love Veronica from VC Pans. She loves electric, like she said, I love electric the way that Paulina loves Barb. And I just thought that was so much fun. Electric and Axis is actually what made me start to fall in love with green eyeshadow. I took Axis like this. I'm gonna show you. So I took Axis all over my lid, and as you can see, this is a little bit more blue. And then I took Electric. It's a little bit hard to pick up with my finger nowadays, but we'll try. And then I took Electric on top, and that just created the most beautiful shade in the entire world. Here you can see a little bit better. I'm not pointing fuck you, I'm just showing you. And I really want to dive into this one a lot more, but that's obviously a keep. We have the Pat McGrath, I don't know which one this is. This is the Celestial Divinity Luxe Quad. And here's what she looks like. I really enjoy this quad actually. I think it's really pretty, so I'm gonna keep it. We have this one, which I have considered decluttering. This is the Friendcation palette from Dose of Colors. I just don't love it anymore as I used to, but I cannot bring myself to declutter this one, so I'm gonna keep it. Then we have the Sigma Enchanted palette, and here I love the shimmers, but I don't love the mattes. The mattes aren't the best, but maybe I should just give it a little bit more of a chance. I'm gonna put this in the maybe pile for now. And then we have the Urban Decay Naked Wild West, and this is so much fun. I love this one. Say what you will, I love it. And then lastly, we have the Kaleidos Escape Pod palette, which I never reach for. Maybe I should just declutter this. The thing is, if this was another brand, I would have decluttered it. But since it is Kaleidos, I don't know. So you know what? What I will do is that I am gonna do what I normally do when I declutter things I'm unsure about. I'm gonna declutter it, I move it out of my collection, but I keep it. And then in a month or two, when I have hesitations, I can bring it back, or I'll just get rid of it. So that's what I'm doing. So I rearranged my palettes, but I just wanted to show you the palettes that I'm not keeping, and this is now the It's My Pleasure with, you know, a decent color story, but just not something I want to keep. And then Flutterby, I think I only took that shade that was there out of this palette. The other ones, they can go. And then here is now the Dream Street palette, which has changed the most. It's definitely not looking like the Dream Street palette. Now I want to show you what the palettes that I kept looks like now. So this one hasn't changed. This one I just changed one shade, and that was the glitter, and I put this shade in instead. Don't know which palette it's coming from, but I just felt like it was a great shade to have in this palette. Then we have the Good Sport. I changed out these two, and I think both of them comes from the Dream Street palette. Then the Wild Child, I switched out these two shadows. One was a glitter, and then one was a matte with a ton of sparkle throughout it. These two are looking pretty cool tone, but maybe that could be cool. I don't know. But that's what that one looks like now. And then finally, the Stone Cold Fox palette is the one that has changed the most. This is way more purple now and has a beautiful array of shimmers. So I put in the purples. This one is also from the Dream Street palette. This is from It's My Pleasure, along with this one, and this one. And then I just took out some shades that contained a lot of sparkle, like mattes with shimmer in them, because I just don't like that formula. So these three are being decluttered, and now as I just, you know, I'm just gonna put all of the palettes back and organize it a little bit. And then we can talk about the ones that are in my maybe pile. I should swap out the glitters in this one as well, so I think I'm gonna do that now. Here is the It's My Pleasure palette, not looking that great, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna keep it, so it doesn't matter. And then here, no, that was not, yes, It's My Pleasure. Here's the Sweet Talk. Oh, it couldn't have been more magical. Now this shade doesn't really match it, but this one I thought was so much fun to pop in here, like damn. So much fun. So let's just continue. Okay, let's go through the maybes. Here's the thing, when I put products into maybes, I tend to not really use them. And looking at all of the palettes that I have, I mean, it's pretty obvious what I actually need to do. But at the same time, I'm in such a change in my life where maybe I'll use these a lot. I don't know. I'm gonna keep the Too Faced palette. I mean, it is turning into fall, and maybe they'll put out something very similar to this, which they usually do. I think they already have, by the way. I don't know. So I will keep this one. I mean, this section I'm happy with. You can't even see it, but I think I'm actually gonna keep all three of these as well. The Enchanted one has beautiful shimmers, and then the Giacchino one, Happy Happy Dog, and then Soft Glam is also gonna be kept because I'm weak. I'm just gonna put those there. This one can stay up here. And then we had the Fiery palette, and this one is gonna go. And then this one needs to be in here. I think I'm just gonna put these two palettes into another drawer, but I just need to count how many I have and how many we got rid of. So I kept 75 palettes, counting the Amrezy palette once. It is bigger than I want my collection to be, and then I'll have 76 once the Star palette from NATASHA comes in. But I've said it so many times, I don't want to declutter just to declutter, so right now I feel happy, and hopefully I'll downsize even more in the future, but this is what we're looking at right now. So I thought that we could count how many I got rid of together, just so you get a little recap of which one I got rid of. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. So that means I had 100 palettes, which is insane, not counting singles. That is insane. That is way too many. I really want to get down to, I know I have had a number before, but just have a collection that I'm happy with. But I think like around at least like maybe 60 would be maybe a good goal to get to. 60, 50, I don't know. And again, a lot of things will change now that I have this new job, but how it's gonna change, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. That is gonna wrap up today's video. You better make sure to give it a like if you have gotten this far, or dislike, depending on how you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.